Some not great news around the Seattle Seahawks now. Aldon Smith, well, unfortunately, once again, has found himself in trouble. The latest here coming out of, from New Orleans, is that New Orleans police, one of the parishes around that area to be specific, they have an arrest warrant out for the newest Seahawks addition, the defensive end / outside linebacker Aldon Smith, allegedly for second-degree battery, which occurred back on April 17th. The incident, by the way, is reportedly on video. That timing is noteworthy, by the way. April 17th, when this allegedly occurred 2 days ago, is actually just 2 days after Smith officially signed with the Seattle Seahawks. This was the arrest warrant issued for Aldon Smith. Ironically enough, states not for media release, which was then tweeted out by the media, which I always find interesting. Second-degree battery is the reason behind this arrest warrant for Aldon Smith. And unfortunately for a very talented player, it's just the latest in a long, long line of troubling incidents off the field for the former first-round pick. Now, we will let the court system and legal system play its way out, as we always do, because that's the right thing to do here. But I do want to mention how this could impact Seattle on the field. We don't have the exact contract details in terms of what the Seahawks gave Aldon Smith. Allegedly, it was a fairly cheap deal, maybe a one-year deal with not that much guaranteed money. My expectation for Aldon Smith was that he was going to play the Bruce Irvin type of role, where he would get some reps as a defensive end. That's why I have him as the backup behind Benson Mayowa above Darrell Taylor on the right side of your screen there. But also play plenty of linebacker for this team and be that strong side, kind of edge-setting linebacker, something he's done before in his NFL career and something he can do and did for the Cowboys in the past. It was a good fit for Aldon Smith. We also saw some issues last year for the Dallas Cowboys, where he started the year so hot. First 5 games, including a dominant performance against the Seattle Seahawks, 3 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, pressure rate was sky high, and then down the stretch, the last 11 games, which allegedly there were some personal issues, quote-unquote, per Sports Illustrated, that the Cowboys saw with Smith and did not want to bring him back as a result, and the on-field play declined as well. 22 tackles, 2 tackle for loss, 1 sack. The pressure rate gets cut in like half. Things you did not want to see out of Aldon Smith. So the latest here is that, once again, Aldon Smith has found himself in trouble with the legal system. He is wanted by New Orleans police for a second-degree battery allegation occurred on April 17th, and allegedly, by the way, is on video as well. So we'll see what happens with Aldon Smith, but if this ends up being true, I do wonder if this is just the end of the line for his NFL career, unfortunately. Let's talk trade now for the Seattle Seahawks. Brock Huard over at ESPN 710 Seattle says he believes and is borderline convinced that the Seahawks will trade down in round 2. And I think Brock Huard has a very smart mindset on this one. Now, this would mean Seattle passes on a potential center. Maybe it's a Quinn Miners or Creed Humphrey or even a Landon Dickerson somehow in round 2. Or a wide receiver like maybe Elijah Moore slides or Rondell Moore or Amari Rodgers. Or even a cornerback such as Tyson Campbell, Ifatu Melifonwu, another guy, Eric Stokes, for example. But we have to remember where Seattle is at. Yes, they need help right now because every team does. They don't have much in terms of draft picks. They have just 3 of them. A round 2 pick at number 56 overall, a round 4 selection at number 129, and a 7th round pick all the way down at 250. And if you're Seattle, and if you can move, now let's just say 10 spots out of round 2 into the early 3rd round and acquire an extra mid-ish day 3 pick, that's appealing because that gets you more dart throws in what in reality is an inexact science in the NFL draft. And the more chances you have, the more likely you are to find a reliable playmaker, a piece for your organization. Now, this team's needs right now, as I have them ranked, cornerbacks 1, wide receivers 2, center is 3, tackles 4, defensive tackles 5. It's the big 3 needs for me: cornerback, receiver, center. Those are the areas I think Seattle needs the most help they need the most impact in terms of right now, a wide receiver 3, a future, hopefully, number 1 corner on the outside, and a center as well, because I don't really believe in Ethan Posick very much. So if you trade down from round 2, you might be passing on a very good player at one of those spots. However, if you do move down, you can still probably get somebody good at let's say just the beginning of round 3 as the example for this conversation. And you get an extra draft pick to add some interior line depth on both the offensive and defensive sides. So if I am Seattle, of course I am not, I do like the idea of trading down. I think doing that helps me build the best roster I can for this year and next year. If Seattle still had a 3rd round pick and a 5th round pick and a 6th round pick, I might not be as intrigued. Because they do not, because Seattle has just 3 picks in this year's draft, and they're going to want at least one more, ideally, I do think it makes sense for Seattle to explore, at minimum, a trade down in this year's draft. So get your votes in for me. What would you guys do? If, let's say, you're John Schneider / Pete Carroll, would you move down? Get your votes in for me here. Type Y for yes you would, or N for no you would not. Let's stick with some more draft talk here around Russell Wilson. And should the Seahawks draft a quarterback? The idea floated out by the Seahawks draft blog. Now, on one level, I get this. I do. So don't bite my head off quite yet. On one hand, it's a bad idea. Let's start with the reason why they should, right? Russell Wilson's future beyond this year, in reality, is a little bit murky. Seattle has not restructured his deal yet. He has not been locked up beyond this year in terms of the dead cap money. And behind him, there's nothing viable. If Russell Wilson, despite his miracle water thing, were to get hurt somehow, it's bad in terms of the quarterback depth chart room. Danny Etling, Alex Magoo. You'll probably bring back Geno Smith again, as they always seem to do. But there is not a long-term answer behind Russ, and there's not even a short-term answer behind Wilson. So from that perspective, I get it. You'd want to find a better backup quarterback. Where I don't like it is the reality of the situation that you are in. If you were to lose Russell Wilson next year, you'd probably just go get a different quarterback in the draft next year. Taking one now is kind of like riding the fence. Like, you're not committing to Russ, you're also not bailing, and you're going to bail when if you do, you're going to get a new quarterback anyway. And the guys in this year's draft, these day 2, day 3 options, I don't like them that much, guys. Davis Mills from Stanford has shown some promise. It's a very small sample size. There are way too many balls in the dirt on screens than what I ever want to see out of a potential franchise guy. I don't think he's an answer. Kyle Trask, I think, has great touch. He's going to be a good backup quarterback, but is limited in the end. Kellen Mond has some believers out there. I hope I'm wrong about him, but he's never been accurate. He's a 4-year starter. When's it going to come around? I don't think ever, so I'm kind of out on him. Jamie Newman has the arm and the athletic ability, and without Sage Surratt, he's been a bad quarterback, even at the college level. I have a 6th-round grade on him. So, do you want to take a Davis Mills, a Trask, or Mond in round 2? I don't want to. I don't think Seattle does. And oh, by the way, if you spend your best draft asset on a quarterback, you know what Russell Wilson's going to be? Not happy. He is not going to like that because he's trying to win games right now. He doesn't want to have to groom somebody behind him at age 32. That makes no sense for Russ. So I get I want a backup insurance policy. I do. If you're Seattle, you have to be all in. Russell Wilson is your guy. He is your franchise quarterback. He is young still. It does not make sense to draft a new one, at least so we can get a halfway decent one in round 2. Not something I have interest in. But you guys can disagree or agree with me in the comments section. Should Seattle draft a quarterback? Type 1 for yes or 2 for no.